This is the Night Owls Disc Golf Podcast. Sorry, I wasn't sure I pressed record. I'm Shane.
I'm Pete. Yeah, you didn't sound too sure of yourself.
I was like looking for the numbers to start. I mean, the numbers to start rolling.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, hot start here. Here we go. All right. So, if you want to reach or you want to listen to more super quality recordings where no mistakes, it's just top notch, you can't get any better disc golf content. DoorDisc.com, door_disc_golf, night_owls_pod, or DoorDisc.com. Once again, we do have a full retail store, and we have a physical building location. And knowledgeable staff. Guys will help you out. They love helping you out. So, outside of that, let's hear
You forgot YouTube.
Oh, my goodness, and YouTube. And we just dropped a new video that had some of the best audio.
Which one?
The one at Pinecrest.
Oh, man.
It is so bad. But
You guys need some of those cordless mics
Like the
or whatever.
lapel
Lapel
mics.
mics, yeah.
I'm going to make an investment and buy an actual camera instead of our iPhones that we can put the mics on.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
It's just funny because it's like, I don't know if they're yelling at the camera. But
We're trying at points.
Yeah.
So, and then my little snide remarks when I'm going to throw a shot and stuff, it didn't pick up a lot of some of those. So,
yeah.
But
the course looked good.
The course does look good. And
Is there a part 2?
there is not, because it was raining and gross
Oh,
the
okay.
entire time
Yeah,
that we just
actually-
decided, like,
Yeah.
I'm done. Like,
It did look pretty wet. And I
It
like,
was
It's
gross.
probably not fun to throw on.
yeah, I think
Kind
we'll
of
probably
film.
get out there and record the back nine at one point. But I actually tore it up on the back nine, like did super well on
nice.
the back nine. Of course, I didn't record
Record
it.
it, yeah.
Like as soon as we shut the camera off, hole 10, I throw it was hole 10. I throw the shot and it's like inches away from chains. Like, I'm like, that would have
Of
sucked
course.
if I would have missed that
Of
one.
course.
So, all right. How do you feel about multiple courses on the same property during a tournament weekend?
On the same property?
Same property,
And they're both being used at the same time.
same time. Maybe being practiced. Maybe one's tournament style, one's being practiced, or they're both in tournament mode. Mm-hmm. However it is, but they're both being used.
I don't see anything wrong with that. I mean, it's no different than passing other players on holes and like hearing screaming or yelling or anything. So I don't see any problem with it.
Oh, okay.
As long as they're not. I mean, they might be close. They might not be close.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have any problem with that. Like, are you flip flopping after rounds? Is this like a 1 day deal, or is this?
No, just asking. Like, what if they're different division?
Oh, go for it.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's nothing saying that different divisions can't play different courses.
Yeah.
For a tournament. I mean, we see at Ledgestone the women playing Sunset and then aren't playing that, but they're both playing Northwoods Black.
Yeah.
And then Eureka Temp. So yeah, I think that's perfectly fine.
So I bring it up because did you see Cat Merch's post?
No, I don't know if I did or not.
I'm really disappointed because, big fan of her.
Yeah.
Still a big fan.
Is this like her recap of Ledgestone, or is this something
It's
different?
a little bit after the first round.
Okay.
She put a post. She was standing outside of her, I believe it was outside of her campsite. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it's in front of her van or something like that. But she proceeds to complain about the amateurs that were on the other course on the property.
Oh.
And that was almost her exact words. She says,
Okay.
"Oh, it was a good," I don't know if she said good round, but yeah, played the round today. But why were there should never be amateurs on another course on the same property while we're playing. This should never happen.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. I didn't quite get it. I was reading is there a joke behind this? Or as I'm watching this, is there a joke behind
Right.
this? Is this slapstick? Or is she authentic that another course where I can think of one hole that you can even see the other course?
Interesting.
Because we played the same courses.
Uh-huh.
Only one course where you can see the other course.
Wow.
So it's this kind of TMZ action, but like I'm like, seriously, dude? Like,
Huh. I mean, as long as discs aren't coming flying into your fairway or on the green that you're on or anything coming into contact with you,
there's no way they can.
No.
Like on the courses that we played, there was no way they can. Now, if they're worried about distractions in the background,
Yeah.
then they shouldn't be a pro player. She should go build their own course in the middle of nowhere.
Right. Well, it's funny because you could say if there's any noise, it seems like the gallery of a pro tour event, if it's on the same property, would be making just as much noise as
Makes a
the
lot of
amateurs.
noise.
Yeah, or if not more. If,
Yeah.
you know, that's crazy.
Oh, more. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of like clapping and explosions and like of roar and claps and, you know, cheering and stuff like that because we were playing. We started very early,
Yeah.
right after the women started because we didn't do very well. But right after FPO started, we were maybe 45 minutes behind lead card, an hour behind lead card, somewhere around in there. No, maybe a little longer, about an hour and a half behind lead card. Our card teed off, and we're on the course while they're still on the course, and places were going nuts. You know, they're clapping and all that stuff. I mean, right in the middle of putts and things like that. None of us were worried about it. You know, none of us complained about it. It was what it was. We knew that was going to happen. But yeah, I thought it was a strange flex for her to call out amateurs playing on a different course while they were playing. Seems weird.
Why would that bother you?
I don't know. It's on Instagram. You can look it up.
Yeah,
unless she's
for sure
since
will.
deleted it. But I was blown away by it. Like, I was sitting there. Actually, Jordan showed it to me, and I was like, "Really? Like, is that a complaint? You know, like." So because that whole weekend, I mean, you think
Technically, you're not an amateur.
me?
Right. And
No,
before-
it wasn't us.
Oh, okay. 'Cause
It
you
was
said-
it was an amateur practice day
Oh,
on the
okay.
other course.
Got it.
Is what it was. So we were actually at Eureka. So
Yeah.
we were at Eureka Temp, or excuse me, we were at Eureka Permanent, and the pros were playing Eureka Temp.
Got it.
And then at the same time, FPO first round was at Black Shorts, and Northwood's Orange was being used because I think there was two courses there. Northwood's Orange was being used for practice for AMs.
Got it.
So I think that was the thing. And the courses don't cross. There's one point where they cross, and that's it.
Yeah. That's a weird situation. Like, unless someone had like come at that point where they cross, if somebody had like come up to them and been like, "Oh my God, can I get a picture?" or something like that, you know.
Yeah,
Maybe
sure.
they didn't realize that, you know, and after the round, go for it. But
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, I think that's excusable, but is it enough to complain about?
yeah,
Those are your fans.
That's pretty
man.
petty, yeah.
Yeah, like, and if it's an honest mistake, it's an honest mistake.
yeah, right.
You know.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah. So, anyways, what'd you buy? Thrower, hanger, flipper.
Okay, so I bought quite a few things. Ooh, yeah,
Me too.
awesome. Ooh, this will be good then.
Yeah, exactly.
I bought 3 AGL discs.
Okay.
I bought 2 Magnolias, which is like I think that's the first disc they came out with. Mid range it's woodland, which is kind of like star. It's and that's a glow woodland.
Well, these are all DD molded. I think they're all
AGL.
at 64 molded, aren't they?
I thought they were Gateway.
Or are they? Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm getting wrong. I got it wrong.
Okay.
I'm sorry. It's not. Them yet.
And then I got another Magnolia in I forgot what it's called. Something. It was an X. No, Sycamore was in the X out.
Okay.
That's a fairway driver, and hemp plastic, something hemp plastic. I forgot what it was. Alpine
Okay.
hemp. X out, and then the other Magnolia I got was in just Alpine, and so I just kind of wanted to get them to try them out and see how they go. They're kind of EMAC EMAC Truthish, I think, like
Okay.
5502, and then one of the plastics is 5602, just a little glidier in that plastic. And then today I ended up buying 2 Cloudbreakers from the shop.
I got a call about that because I guess PayPal doesn't like to do
Oh, there was something weird.
like pickup. If you
Yeah.
pay with PayPal, you can't do local pickup.
I don't know what the deal was because when I went to pay, I picked pickup, and then or it was Shopify, I think, or something, and I paid, or I clicked pickup, and then it sent me a code, like for like iPhone that's like, oh, you enter this and whatever, and so I entered it, and then all of a sudden it just brought me to shipping.
Really?
Okay. Right away I was like, okay, here's your like. You paid, but then it's like, we're charging you shipping and stuff. So I had to call Cam.
Yeah.
And be like, dude, I'm just going to come pick them up at the shop. He's
Yeah.
like, okay, did they charge you shipping? I was like, yes. And he's like, well, this has been happening.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
whatever.
did you pay with PayPal or was it with a credit card?
What did I, maybe Apple Pay?
Okay. Shouldn't do that.
I don't know.
But
I forgot what it was.
Yeah, we're trying to figure it out. I don't understand why the local pickup isn't working, but we'll get it.
Yeah.
Like, and it's weird because it does it. I know PayPal for sure. If you try to check out with PayPal, it doesn't allow you to do local pick. Well, it does this weird thing where you can put local pickup, pay with PayPal, and then all of a sudden it charges you shipping.
Yeah, I think that's what happened.
Yeah.
Because your PayPal account is automatically linked to your shipping address. So I think that's just what
it just goes straight through.
Yeah.
So we'll have to figure that one out. But for all you locals out there, or when you're local and you want to pick up, just give the shop a buzz. And we'll refund the shipping if that ends up being the case. So, so Cloud Breakers, and then
the AGL discs and
Okay.
the Cloud Breakers. I don't know if I'm going to throw them, just because the Eagle Creator Series or whatever. I'm curious as to how different they would be, but I just have this feeling they'd be way too stable for my arm right now.
Well,
and I don't know.
And Eagle plays the brilliant, but also like, come on, dude. He plays it's the best of all three Cloud Breakers. Shut up. No, it's not. It is one of the three Cloud Breakers. Like, just tell us which one it is. The fourth?
This is technically.
Well, he's saying it's a combination of one of the first three Cloud Breakers.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Is what the fourth one is.
Kind of. Yeah, because
But how can it be?
I don't know. Because they came out with a documentary about it. There was documentary short
one of
video,
do.
and it had Manny on it, which is cool to hear him talking about the designs of the discs, and then UC was talking about and Eagle and everything. So it was kind of interesting to hear him talk about it.
Yeah, because he was talking about the stability of the three different ones had different stabilities, and I was just like, so how, if they all three had different stabilities, how can this be the best of all three of them? Come on, okay.
Right.
But yeah, I thought it was brilliant just to move them. I haven't thrown them yet. I didn't buy any.
I was going to ask Joe, but I didn't see him tonight. So
because
I know he has it. Yeah.
I think he said they're very DD3.
Okay.
Is what he said. So like current run DD3s.
The
C lines.
Yeah. Okay. So that's pretty stable.
Seam. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what he said. To me. So, and then we had the Gould's release. Which is the Castoplast Goulds that just the overstable driver.
Yeah.
Like 3 minutes. I don't know how long it was. Maybe 15 minutes. Every one of them were gone.
Wow.
We never did any Instagram posts. We never did nothing to promote.
I didn't even know when they released.
Yeah, the only time I promoted was here. It was they released like Wednesday of last week or something like that.
Okay.
Or this past week. I was just blown away. Or Monday. I don't remember when it was. I remember I don't remember. I remember my watch just going nuts from all the orders. I'm like, what released today? And then I looked it up. I was like, all the Goulds. And
wow.
I was like, all right. So that was pretty cool. But we do have a restock of those coming. So they released a limited amount more.
But not first runs, are they? Are they considered?
I believe they're still considered first runs.
Oh, wow.
The ones that released.
Minty green color.
Yeah. So, and then there's a bunch of glow stuff that's coming out now too. So we're gonna get a couple glow runs, which I'm pretty happy about.
Those will probably sell fast as well.
Oh yeah, they will. But they're super limited. Like I could only get the largest quantity of there's 5 discs. The largest quantity I could get was 8.
Okay.
Most of them are at 4 or 6.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Wow.
So yeah, but so I bought. Oh man. Speaking of Castoplast, I bought a Falk.
Nice.
Amazing disc.
What color did you get?
I got I think it's like pinkish, like that ish color.
Oh, okay.
It's like.
I was talking to Cam about it because did I get a Falk? Someone gave me a Falk, and they're like, get the poison green because it's considered more flippy, that color is. So I was just curious. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I got it's like a pinkish color, like a peachy
Yeah,
pinkish.
K1.
Yeah, it's K1. Yep, and it's just a beautiful disc, like very controllable, very glidey, and it doesn't have a lot of dump. It doesn't have a lot of finish, but it's right in that old school FD range for me.
Sure.
Kind of has that similar flight. I wouldn't say it's the same as, but similar.
Yeah.
So then I bought a couple Comets, 3 Comets actually.
wow.
I bought while I was there. So I bought one of the new Crystal Flex Comets that they released. It was
that
one
a
of the
Ledgestone?
drops. I bought one of those, and then I bought a Z, and then I bought a Big Z. The Big Z was being dyed by somebody there at the Infinite truck. And I was just walking by, and I saw the Big Z sitting there, and I was like, "Oh, what is that?" And I walked over, and it was a Comet. I was like, "Uh-oh." So I just bought it almost immediately.
Nice.
It went straight in the bag. It was money the entire weekend.
That's awesome.
Loved it, especially at Northwoods Black. I use it a lot. Excuse me. And then I don't think. Oh, and then I bought the Plastic Addicts, the Habit, and the Intervention, just to try them because we were thinking about carrying them in the shop. I don't think we will. The molds are very similar to a Zeppelin and a Venom. They are molded by Discraft. I would assume those are the molds.
Yeah.
You know, by looking at them, the way they fly, everything. So we threw both of them. I would assume those are the molds. They're nice. I mean, if you're in that area, go pick some up. They're fantastic. We probably won't carry them in the shop, and the only reason why we won't is I don't know if we're going to see any more runs out of them or any more types of discs. So I don't know if it's something that we want to latch onto, and then all of a sudden we can't get them anymore. So but good discs. So so what was that, six discs? So
made up for a couple of weeks there.
Yeah, exactly. Made up for a couple of weeks. So but that was that. And then I bought a Yuli hat.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was Paul Uleberry had some like flexible big dome hats.
Yeah.
So I was able to grab some that fit me. And that was about it. So, and all of those will be throwers or wearers.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we'll go through a quick preview. We got the Ledgestone review, and we'll also do the picks. We got the Des Moines picks, what we're going to do. And then we got the Nico tracker, which is followed by discussion about proper disciplinary action, which is also followed by the Paul and Brody saga. A little cattiness on Twitter there.
Yeah.
And then we'll do a listener/guest bag analysis, but it's not a guest, just listener. And then we'll do a random question, and then I'll give you some shop updates. So, with that being said, let's get started. Okay, Ledgestone review. So, Jordan and I went down to Ledgestone, had an amazing time. It is a superbly run event. Had some of the best tacos I've ever had in my life.
Nice.
One of the taco trucks that was there. They were fantastic. They were so good. And then the disc golf, on the other hand, was not. So for me, I'll give you a recap about the courses and then a quick recap about my game, and then we can move on. So the courses themselves, we played Eureka Permanent, we played Sunset Hills, the golf course, and we played Northwoods Black Short.
Okay.
For the 3 rounds. So we started at Sunset, went to Eureka Permanent, then Northwoods Black. So first, just overall view of the courses. Sunset Hills is a fun course, unique lines, ball golf course. Mm-hmm. You're throwing hard and you're throwing hyzers a lot. Not a lot of unique looks at the basket.
Okay.
For the most part, if you get within 60, 70 feet, it's going to be a wide open look at the basket. Wasn't a lot of wooded holes. I mean, you saw all the women's coverage. It was the exact same course we played. I played really bad.
Oh.
It was just, I hadn't played in about a month.
Windy or?
No, it was just me. Hadn't played in about a month. My back was, I was having that sciatica issue. I got lots of excuses. And my putt was just nowhere to be found. Strongest point of my game, nowhere to be found. So I finished at 4 over, which was about a 930 rated on there. So not horrible, but just I probably left 10, 15 strokes just on the putting green out there. It was
That's
bad,
rough.
bad. So, and then we went to Eureka Permanent. So I'm starting like third to last card or something like that. So we go to Eureka Permanent. I am absolutely shredding the lines. I can't think of a fairway tree that I hit, and it's a heavily wooded area. Can't think of a fairway tree that I hit anything. I mean, I was exactly where I should have been, and I counted them because I knew the problem was 10 strokes inside the circle I lost. 10 strokes. There was just something wrong with my putt. I had an eagle look. I was about 45 feet.
Okay.
Eagle look, way past it, 15-footer, doink the cage, par. Just like that. Just really, really bad happenings. So there's some good that came out of all of this, which is cool. I want to get to that too. But so I played 4 over on the day there. So I won over on Sunset Hills and then 4 over Eureka Perm. So going into the last day, I was 5 over, going into Eureka Black. But the course itself at Eureka Temp, if I was around that course, I'd play it every day.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Or Eureka Permanent, excuse me. I'd play it all the time. It's a fun course. So I started out it's a short kind of on the side of a hill, maybe 300 feet. I threw a EMAC to about 30 feet down the hill of it. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to be aggressive and run everything. Hit the band, hit the hill, rolled about 150 feet past me. So I had about a 200-foot upshot, and then 175-foot upshot from the flats. Put it next to the base, tapped in for my 4.
Okay.
Second shot, super tight tunnel. All 3 guys on the card up before me, of course, because everybody either got a birdie or par on that one. All 3 of them hit the first available, because it's a tight gap.
Yeah.
I get up and I'm just like, what's the lose? Park it 3 feet from the pin. Awesome. Tap that one and didn't have to putt. Next hole is a short little 260, just a slight turnover putter, slightly downhill. Throw that, skip off the top of the basket. Everybody's handing you dollar bills because that's what you do.
Yeah.
So I get dollar bills from everybody. Make that putt, 20-footer. The only putt I made all day.
Really?
The next hole I throw, I don't know, maybe 60 feet down, kind of in a gully. It's perched up on a hill, of course. Putt hits the cage, rolls back down into the gully.
See a theme.
Yeah. And then there's another 60-footer, and I hit that one. So lucky, awesome. That was where it ended.
Yeah.
That was it. Put the next one about 30 feet away. Missed that putt. Missed the comeback. Bogey. That was my day. And then from that point forward, just beautiful drives. Everything's working. Upshots are working. I get within 45 feet. Can't even come close to the basket. The weirdest thing. So then I finished the round. Jordan has about another hour and a half. I spend the entire time putting.
Yeah.
Because I can't figure out what's going on. The entire time. So first 45 minutes of the putt, 3 putts went in.
Whoa.
And I was 25 feet. I was just pacing out 12 steps. 3 putts went in. Don't know what it was.
Weird.
Yeah, weird. So about an hour and a half I grind, just putt, putt. And then the next day, we get up and we're teeing off about, I don't know, it was 11:10 or something like that. So we were the 3rd card out again. So Jordan did bad enough to catch me down down there. So he came down to me.
Yeah.
And then we go to Northwoods Black, and I don't know what it was. I just lit up. I was doing great. So 930, 902, 980. Just those. But
So you played above your rating, though, for the tournament?
Exactly my rating.
Oh, you played exactly your rating. Wow.
My tournament average was exactly my rating, so 935.
Okay.
So, yeah, I don't know. It is what it is, but, my rating has fallen about 15 points over this last year. So it is what it is. There's nothing I can do about it. Well, I can play better, but my thought on the 3 courses is Sunset Hills, I think, is a fantastic course. I've already said that. I think it's a golf course. So, but unique enough lines that it makes it fun and enjoyable. But everything is like a birdie hole. You have to birdie everything. It's just one of those courses.
Yeah.
Then you get into Eureka Permanent. And like I said, I would play it every day. It was a beautiful course, tight wooded lines, had a couple meadow holes. Mm-hmm. But outside of that, it was a pretty good park style golf course that had some good tight woods.
Okay.
But you could still air it out. There were still a couple holes that were 500-600 feet, but not in the woods. These were out in the open.
Sure.
And then you get to Northwoods Black. I was just absolutely terrified of this course from what everybody said about it, especially what Jordan said about it.
Yeah.
I thought it was all hype.
Oh, really?
I thought it was all hype.
Okay.
Beautiful course. Best course I've ever played. It is nowhere near. This is how I'm playing. This is how I played it. It's my opinion of it. It's nowhere near as hard as everybody's saying it is. I think what makes it hard is if you hit first available. If you're not hitting your lines and you get off the fairways, absolutely probably one of the hardest courses you'll ever play.
So, like, walking through the course, like, you guys walk past the longer tees, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
So, what's the difference? You know, what separates that short course from the long course and the difficulty, maybe?
Really, I couldn't tell you, but most of the holes were, we gained an advantage by anywhere between 30 to 100 feet.
Okay.
Advantage.
So maybe you guys were just closer to landing zones.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I think so.
That's
I think
kind of
I think it went from me, and I kind of said this to Jordan. You put a putter or a bid in my hand, I'm in heaven.
Yeah.
Because I know where I'm going to put it. I don't shank them. Well, I shank them, but very rarely do I shank them. Like, I can hit my lines.
Yeah.
I'm a a very, I guess, technical player when it comes to that regard. You put something with a wide rim in my hand and expect me to throw it in the woods, it's going to go bad.
Yeah.
And I never had to on shorts. Never had to really put something wide rimmed in my hand unless there was a decent fairway.
Yeah.
But really, the lariat was the fastest I used, which was a 9.
Okay.
And the lariat was just absolutely dead straight for me. Like, it went exactly where I wanted to. So, I don't know. I know Jordan will adamantly disagree with me, but I think it gets from shorts, the course I played and how I played it. I would love to play it every day.
Sure.
Like, that was the second time I ever saw it, and I was neg 1.
Well,
Like, I played very well.
that's cool.
And I don't know if I could play like that every day, but I know I could also play better.
Yeah.
I left a lot of strokes out there. So, it's not a lot of strokes, but I left strokes out there. So, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a very well-designed course. I thought the technicality of the course is landing zones and fairways. So you stay in the fairway, go in the landing zone. If you're off in the weeds, it's going to just strip, strokes from you. But I think, like, Rolling Ridge, I think it's harder. I think it's a much harder course.
Okay.
So, just my thoughts.
Yeah.
So, you can love them or hate them, but I'm sure I'm going to get flamed for it.
Well,
I think it's a much harder course.
interesting.
So, yeah. Some of the good stuff that came out of it. So, while I was standing there for an hour and a half putting like crazy, I had 3 separate cards. MA1 was playing Eureka Pen Temp. And I was at a point where, like, they were coming from the ball field, throwing over the ball field, and they were going over to the next hole. Mm-hmm. And 3 cards, like, one guy I knew, he was like, "Hey, Shane, what's going on?" I was like, "Oh, that's awesome. Hey, how you doing? How's your round? Keep it up," And then, like, about 15 minutes later, another card walks through, and 2 guys were like, "Shane, what's going on?" I'm like, "Hey, buddy."
Yeah.
No clue who they were.
Okay.
Which was really cool. I was super excited about it. And then, like, maybe 20 minutes later, another card walks through, and all 4 of them like, "Shane, what's going on?" Like, going crazy. And I'm like, "What's up, man? Like, that's cool."
Yeah.
And just chatted with him a little bit. And while we were there also, there was quite a few people that just came like, "Hey, man, I love the podcast," and just, like, kept going. And we're like, "What?"
Oh, nice.
Like, so
that's
it was really
awesome.
cool. So, thank you to whoever you guys were. It was really cool because I've never had fandom like that.
Yeah.
So if you see us out there, just come up, up to us and chat with us. Like,
Yeah.
I thought it was really cool because the first guy that came up was like, "Man, I love your podcast." But I had no clue who he was, and I didn't know how to respond to him at first. And I just said, "Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it." It was actually, I was looking at the comet, that died comet at the time, and I was like, "Thanks, man. I appreciate it." And he walked up into the infant trailer, And I was like, I gotta say hi because that was really awkward for
Okay.
me, you know. So I walked up, I was like, hey man, sorry, I was looking at this disc, and it was Riley, the guy we did that had that really cool bag breakdown.
Oh yeah.
It was him.
Riley
So from
Steiner.
the- Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome.
So got to meet him in person.
That's
so, yeah, but that was that. You know, it was just it was neat. It
You
was
get
different.
all the good interactions.
Well, you gotta come.
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
So, but yeah, it was really fun. I mean, I enjoyed it. I had fun, and I told Jordan about it when he got done with his round. I told him about like the guys, like, hey, what's going on? And he's like, yeah, you've had a couple people come up and say something. And I was like, I didn't remember the other people. Like, dude, love the podcast as they were just walking by me, and I'm like, how do you know who I am?
Did you have
first
like
of
your
all,
Parliament stuff on?
yeah, I
and
always
everything?
had a Door Disc T-shirt on, so I always
Well,
had something
okay,
on.
so on the podcast page, there's a picture of you I put on the stories. I was like, if you see this guy at
Did you?
at Ledgestone, say what's up to him.
Well, then that might have been it.
Might have helped.
Might have been
yeah.
it.
I don't know.
Yeah. So it was fun. So yeah, if you see us out there, just come up and say hey. Might be a little awkward because I don't know how to handle that type of stuff, but it was fun.
That's fun.
Yeah. So yeah, so all in all, that's what it was. So that's my Ledgestone review. Awesome course, awesome time. I don't know, I couldn't say more. Like I would love to go back. The little town we stayed in was super cool, like Roanoke or something like that.
Oh.
Super cool little town. We were like 25 minutes away from everything, you know. And
That's cool.
but yeah, we really had a good time. So, all right. So we want to go over our picks.
Yeah, I forgot kind of who we all picked.
Yeah, I got it here. So we had MPO. JP, you took Heimberg, Macbeth, and Dickerson.
Okay.
And then Joe had Dickerson, Wysocki, and Heimberg. And I picked Macbeth, Heimberg, and Brody Smith.
Okay.
So that really we didn't do very well. Macbeth ended up taking second. Is that correct? So Macbeth is really the only one to talk about. I think Heimberg was like in 17th or something like that. He
Something
finished
like
pretty
that.
far down there. And then Wysocki won. So Joe had the Wysocki.
Oh no, Calvin finished 10th.
Oh, 10th. Okay.
Yeah,
So he came up.
And I don't know what Dickerson was 19th.
Okay. And then Smith was like 40 something.
Something like that.
He just made the cut. He actually just snuck into the cut.
I heard that, yeah.
So FPO, JP picked Allen, Tatar, and then Holland Hanley. By the way, Jordan and I were looking at it going, your pick's not so crazy. Because I was like, Holland Hanley, what does he know that we don't? And she went nuts for the first 2 days. And then
She had that sick eagle.
yeah.
That was awesome.
Yep.
Or no, it wasn't. It was an albatross. Not even.
Albatross.
Yeah,
Yep.
albatross.
Yep.
That was awesome.
So yeah, good for her. And like, where did she come from?
She's been playing well recently.
Okay.
I think she won an 8 here like a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Yeah, decent.
And
yeah. She
but
finished 10th.
Black got a hold of her.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And then Paige Pierce, Mandahano, and Tatar for Joe. So she did.
You did okay.
Yeah, he did okay. And then I had Merch, Mandahano, and Tatar. So I did not do okay. So there you go. That was our picks. And then do we want to do our Des Moines Challenge?
Sure.
Is it Des Moines Challenge?
Yeah,
Des
Des
Moines,
Moines Challenge. By the way, just going to mention, I think that it's been mentioned quite a bit, but not being able to see the first 9 holes of Northwest Black and seeing only the back half really sucks.
Which is very puzzling to me because I didn't have service anywhere around any of those courses. It was crazy. Like, I had 0 service anywhere.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so like business stuff and everything, I
Yeah.
just get random voicemails that would pop up when I had Wi-Fi. Like all of a sudden everything would sync up and
Someone said that, did Jordan, like Tyler was texting in the morning, like, oh, hey, good luck. And like, you guys hadn't started yet. It was just the Pro Tour. But I think Jordan said he didn't have any problems with cell phone service.
Jordan has Google Fi.
Oh, okay.
And he didn't have any issues.
Got
so
it.
I just told everybody, like the shop guys and stuff, I was like, just call Jordan and
Yeah, okay.
I'll be
that
around
makes
him,
sense.
I'm sure.
That makes a lot of sense then.
as long as we're not playing, I'll be around him. So yeah, it was pretty bad. So do we want to do more picks? Do we want to do them? Okay.
Yeah, I think so. This is actually big because like everybody's here. This is like the big build up kind of before Worlds.
Yep.
So yeah, and I wasn't sure. Oh, okay. it is an elite series. Last year it was a silver series.
Okay, so
so
it
that
is
makes sense
actually-
that people are showing out.
All right. So you want to start with your MPO picks?
Sure. I guess.
You'll have to tell me if my picks aren't there, by the way. 'Cause
Okay.
I'm not looking at them.
Numero uno, I am going with. I guess I'm going to pick Gannon Burr.
I like it. He is part designer of that course.
Really?
Yes, he is.
I did not know that.
I don't know if he really is or not, but they joked with him on Ezra and Brody's.
Oh, yeah,
on
yeah.
Ezra's channel.
Okay.
When they were teeing off, they joked with him. Pretty sure he actually did help design.
'cause I know
a
he's from that
portion of the
area.
course.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were joking with him like, why aren't you removing some trees?
All right, 2, I'm going to pick Ricky Wysocki.
Okay.
And number 3, I'm going to stick with Calvin.
Okay. And I am going to. I'm going to go Macbeth, Burr, Wysocki. I think Macbeth is starting to light up with controversy.
Yeah.
But also with Worlds coming close. He always just kind of hypes up at this point.
Right.
So I think he will be there. So Burr and then Wysocki. Wysocki, I think he's on a heater right now. That's number 3 in a row, if I remember rightly,
Is it?
for Elite Series wins.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So-
Shoot.
Matter of fact, actually,
Just
DD is going to release a commemorative Elite Series disc because of that. So
Oh, that's cool.
yeah.
Nice.
So, I wish I could pull it up quickly. Yeah, celebrate Ricky Wysocki's three-peat. The three-peat at Ledgestone. Okay.
Oh, right.
So they're
Yeah.
doing a Dimax of Wysocki.
Those they were releasing around Ledgestone what was it? The Raptor's Eye.
yeah.
Yeah, those were pretty cool looking Saki Slammers.
They were. It was the Fly Mart was nuts. So we didn't go, but we had a good friend, Sean, the Australian. So he's actually from Australia.
Yes, true.
He went and he said that it was like Ricky wasn't even done. He was only on like hole 15.
Okay.
And the line just for those Ricky Raptor slammers
Yeah.
was like 2 hours long.
Oh my god.
It was so like people were like camped there,
Yeah.
waiting. So
Wow.
they were just like, nah, we're not going to do that. But he ended up getting a couple other things.
Okay.
And then, so
Those fly marts are always crazy.
They are,
Like the
especially with
DD
those special releases
block
like
parking
that.
was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I remember that. But that's cool.
So yeah. So all right. So that's me. Okay. FPL.
You can go first for FPO.
Okay. Is basically everybody there?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, this is gonna be a hard one. I'm gonna do just because I feel I'm gonna put number 2. I'm gonna put Gannon.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Tatar, Gannon. I don't know.
Did we mention that Missy won Ledgestone?
Did we say that? We didn't? No. I don't think we mentioned anybody.
Oh, okay.
Who won. We just went over my recap and moved on. Isn't that the important part?
Yeah.
So Wysocki won and Gannon won. Wysocki won for the 3rd time. Gannon won for the 1st. So
Yeah.
not Gannon Burr.
Missy Gannon.
Yeah. Missy Gannon the Cannon.
Yep.
I'm going to put Own back up there. So I think Own, Gannon, and Tatar, because I think this is another course that is going to be a shot shapers course from the little I've seen of it. So I think Own is going to be up in that realm.
Sure. That makes sense.
Yep. All right.
I'm going to take Missy Gannon to repeat at Des Moines.
Okay.
Then I'm going to go with... Oh, man.
Choices.
Yep. There's a lot of them.
Yeah. Like 40 something.
Yeah. That's amazing. I'm going to say Val Mondahano.
Okay.
And then I'm going to put Kristen Tatar 3rd.
And Tatar, man, 3rd?
Yeah. She's still having trouble throwing hyzers with that elbow. That's
Is she
giving
really?
her,
Okay.
Yeah, kind of giving her issues. So I don't know how well she's feeling. I think she said that she's feeling a little better, but I just know that
Yeah.
there's still a little bit of pain there. So I don't know if it's going to be cortisone shots or something to help her out with that. But yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure. Hopefully she doesn't do that because cortisone shots are the devil.
Yeah.
Or they can be. I'm sure they're in certain and right places. They're great, but yeah, they're bad. I know someone recommended that for me for my back. And I was just like, no way. Like, I've only ever had one cortisone shot, and it was for my shoulder. And I felt like $1 million until about 30 days later.
Right, because you just have to keep getting them. Like, I knew someone that had the same thing happen. He's putting off surgery, and he's like kept getting cortisone shots like every so often, and then he's like, I can't keep doing this. I actually have to get the surgery, and it sucks.
Yeah, and it's actually something I even kind of forget that happened until like I think about it, and then I'm like, no, remember I had that one for my shoulder when I was pretty young, and I remember the doctor telling me that you shouldn't do too many of them because it kind of eats at your joints.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if it's true or not, but that's what a doctor said. So
Yeah.
But yeah, so all right, well, let's get on to the Nico tracker, which is going to snowball into a lot of stuff. So Nico tracker. So Nico was suspended for 9 months, and 14 months suspension after that. Right? Is that what it was? I think it was 9 months and 14 months.
Oh, probation.
Probation, not suspension.
Yeah,
probation. After that.
Yep.
So that in itself, I don't have anything to say about. I think it's. I'll just state it. I think it's appropriate.
Yeah.
And I think it is what it is. This is what the PDA decided. It's well within their scope, and it's actually on the bottom end of what they could have done. Mm-hmm. I mean,
they could have given him a full 2 years.
2 years suspension.
Suspension, yeah.
So I don't have really much of anything to say about it. And Nico's the one that
he got fined as well, though. I believe. Didn't he?
No fine.
Oh, I thought there was a fine.
There's 0 fine.
Okay.
Yeah, the fine was that he's not able to compete in
Oh,
events.
yeah, I suppose.
Yeah. So, no fine. But that will be a discussion point.
Yeah.
So that sparked a whole lot of controversy on the webs. So on the Twitters, Paul Macbeth, actually it was on Instagram, Paul Macbeth let out on his stories that he thought the PGA was wrong for the amount of, or for the Class A.
Right.
He said a Class C at best, and that was what he was arguing. Mm-hmm. Wasn't really much else outside of that. He just said, at PDGA, I think you made a wrong
first
move.
first time defense. Yeah.
And it's a Class C at best. Class A is what you gave him. Poor move. Mm-hmm. So Paul is very well known for sticking up for Bradley Williams as well. Mm-hmm. And he was one that actually boycotted a couple events because of Bradley Williams' suspension.
Yes.
So maybe not very well known, but it's well known within kind of some of the old school guys.
Yep.
So that happened. And then Brody then proceeded to say bad take.
Right.
Paul,
yep.
Basically, is what it said. And that was through Twitter. And then we find out that Brody and Paul can't see each other's tweets because Brody has Paul blocked.
Yeah.
So there's a whole lot that goes into that. And then little back and forth goes between Paul and Brody. And finally Paul comes back with like one of the best zingers is the fact that I don't want him to unblock me. Because that's what he said. He says, oh, Paul or Brody has me blocked.
Yeah.
And then Brody responds back like, darn right, I got you blocked.
Well, there's some other, there's like some like subtweets with like people that were like, hey man, can't you just like hash this out?
Oh, sure.
And stuff like that. Or, work past this. And then he's like, Brody had, I forgot what Brody had said exactly or whatever. But he's like, this is something that can't be worked past pretty much.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Which is funny because that's not what happened on his broadcast. But so then Brody comes back and says, yeah, I got him blocked.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I got him blocked. I blocked him. And then Paul says, yeah, he definitely has me blocked and I don't want him unblocked. And this is in some of these subtweets. I don't want him unblocked. He goes, I just think it's great that he has to throw a disc with my name on him. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, mark that savage. One up for Paul. Yeah, that was pretty savage. And then it all kinds of dies out after that.
Right. Like you never really hear much
nothing
about
else happens. Yep. So then it goes forward with, I just burped because I had a jalapeno burger today.
Oh, God. That's what you were hoping was coming unlodged before.
Oh, that was bad. Yeah. All right. So then that all kinds of dies out. And then we'll get into the debate night.
Yeah.
Where Brody talks about it. And I'll tell you what, I know it was supposed to kind of quell the drama. Mm-hmm. But man, it didn't look good for Brody.
No, I didn't think that at all when I was listening to it.
Yeah. I didn't think it looked good at all because it sounded like he was just kind of a whiner. Mm-hmm. And he didn't get his way.
Yeah, it sounded like he's kind of pushing things onto Paul, like it was mainly his fault. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Which I think they're both kind of.
I mean, it's one of those ones where he took responsibility. It's like a child. When a child says, well, I know I shouldn't have done that, but, like.
Yes, absolutely.
Like,
yeah.
I know I shouldn't have hit that kid, but he hit me first. Mm-hmm. Or I know I shouldn't have thrown that rock, but he threw one at me first.
Yeah, kind of trying to justify his actions for what had happened.
Exactly.
But he is still trying to like have some contrition by admitting his faults. Right.
And, good on him for doing that. Mm-hmm. Like, he's still one of my favorite players. Paul's still one of my favorite players. Chris Dickerson, or excuse me, I'm sorry. I don't even know where I'm going with this. So we'll just reset.
Yeah.
Paul and Brody are still both my favorite players, some of my favorite players. I have a little less respect for the drama that Brody brings to the table. Mm-hmm. Because Brody started a lot of this Twitter beef. And Brody also said, oh, I think it would have been funny, kind of like childish. I blocked Paul, so I think it would be funny that he would have to log into another account to see what I'm writing. And I'm like, do you really think you're that important that Paul's going to go out of his way to see what you're writing?
Right.
Maybe, maybe not. But to have that mentality, that's crazy.
It is. And then he kind of will mention too, he's like, well, I don't think I'm better than Paul in the disc golf world.
Yes.
Based on his accomplishments and where I'm at. He's like, I can tell you where I'm at if you ever ask me, blah, blah, blah. Like, mm-hmm.
And that stemmed from a comment of him saying rivalry disc golf is a good thing. I agree with him. Yeah. I think it's completely fine. I loved seeing that. I was hoping more would come out of it.
I did too. I really did. I was like, just feel that fire. And then I think someone had mentioned, he mentioned that they had kind of I don't know if they played together at Ledgestone or at one point were they on the feature
They played together in the past. No, they weren't on the feature card together.
Because someone said they had there was some thing where they were coming together, but they didn't interact at all with each other. Mm-hmm. They just didn't say anything.
Yeah, he used that as being everybody knows something happened because when two friends get together and they don't say a word, two ex-friends get together and they don't say a word together, then they know there's something wrong. Mm-hmm. So then he goes to explain the parting of Paul from Foundation. And basically what it is that Brody uprooted his life with Kelsey to go up north and just go crazy with social media.
Yep.
And just doing what they're doing right now. And they're killing it. They're doing a great job. That wasn't Paul's direction.
Right.
Paul said that when he left. Hey, I can't be involved in this type of stuff. It's not stuff I can dedicate time to, so I'm leaving Foundation. Brody feels slighted because Paul knew he was coming to do these things with Paul, and Paul still bailed on Foundation.
Right. But, okay, that's fine. I don't see anything wrong with Paul saying that this happened unless they're just banking on getting views with Paul.
Right.
Even though Brody's got a good following. Mm-hmm. But I think they thought together that they would just be huge.
Yeah.
Bigger than what they are.
And being that Paul and Hunter and Zach Biscardi started it from the beginning. Mm-hmm. And I still want to know what happened to Zach Biscardi. I still want to know that.
That's
drama.
Crazy too.
Yeah. Oh, that's just gone, and there's a non-disclosure agreement. Mm-hmm. That's a little crazy.
It is.
But nevertheless, so Paul leaves Foundation. Brody stays with Foundation. Brody's killing it with Foundation right now. Mm-hmm. Paul's killing it with his Foundation, doing all that type of stuff. But basically what it was is Brody came up there to start doing things with Paul, and Paul said, I don't want to be involved in it anymore.
Right.
So Brody threw a fit.
Yeah, that's kind of what it seems like.
That from his mouth. That's
Yeah.
from his mouth. You know, not those words, of course, but exactly what he said. He said he felt a little slighted.
Yep.
And then I guess there was some drama with friends and family in the background
Yeah,
that he didn't
something
elaborate
got
into.
lied about or something. Yeah, he alluded to it, but he didn't mention names. He just said that, you know, there's some lying happening that
That's some drama Paul knew about and
Yeah.
said he didn't,
Right.
supposedly.
or Paul's kind of vouching for this guy and then found out that it was like happening.
No,
That's
he was just saying that he didn't know about it, and then Brody talked to someone else and
then they
said
said
that
that-
Paul knew about it.
Oh, okay.
And so he says, now you lied to me and you knew about this situation.
Yeah.
So he's like, so I'll never talk to him again. But then at the end, he goes, I'm done. I forgive him.
Yeah.
And then, no, you don't. No, you don't.
Yeah, just holding this grudge.
Yeah. For what reason?
For what reason?
Was
Well,
someone actually hurt? Was someone actually like, or is this just like words? Is this like high school
Yeah,
drama?
I don't know. That's really weird. And then
Yeah.
Brody moves back to Texas.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like after all this, he's still going out on tour. I guess, I'm guessing Kelsey missed her family. Like
Oh,
he
of
said
course,
that
yeah.
they were close and everything, so they got a new house and moved back and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just curious, we were kind of talking about before how Brody got in. Who brought, did Brody approach Paul? Did Paul approach Brody? Did Brody see that Paul had this situation and he's like, hey, can I somehow get in on this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or did he go around and talk to the other guys to swing Paul into thinking that he could get in? It's a weird dynamic, how it could be 3-on-1 or, it could be an even
It sounds
thing
like,
to like,
Hunter and Trevor, they're still fine with Paul. Like,
Yeah,
I guess like a week ago they said, like Trevor said, like a week ago Paul was in here BSing about new discs, like the new whatever disc that he's coming out
yeah,
with.
he's got something new coming out, new fairway or something.
Yeah, and he was just BSing about that and
Even
stuff.
Brody talked about throwing it.
Yeah,
He
absolutely.
did. He's like, can I throw this in the bag yet? And they're like, it's not PDGA approved. I
Yeah.
think that was on last week's episode, but it's a Paul disc.
Yeah, exactly. That's in the Paul Macbeth one.
Yeah.
But hopefully it doesn't get that trivial.
Right.
I'm sure it will with Brody. And maybe Paul's the same way. He's just not vocal about it. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, as far as we know, we haven't heard anything Paul saying what it is, and we probably who knows if
Probably
it'll come
won't.
up.
Probably won't. It's not that important to him. But
Yeah.
I would assume with, like the personalities that we see with Paul and Hannah, like Paul has been known to be very competitive with people, and Hannah's the nicest person in the world. But you look at Paul with his interactions like Ricky in the past,
Yeah.
stuff like that. I never saw Ricky and Paul saying, I hate you, I don't want to talk to you ever again.
Right.
It was honestly just a good on-field rivalry, And there was a couple things said here and there about how he chokes, like Ricky chokes and stuff
Right.
like that. So, yeah, but that's just like a confidence thing.
Sure.
Not defending him, because I'm sure those things should or should not have been said. But it is what it is. And they were taken a lot differently in that sense. But who knows on Paul's side, we're only hearing one side of the story in the open. But normally when someone feels that they need to defend themselves, there's a bit of guilt there.
Yeah.
Right. So there's something they want to get off their chest and try to protect themselves in some way, shape, or form. And I feel like that's kind of what Brody's doing.
A little bit.
Yeah. So, but
Interesting timing.
Agreed.
Discraft drama before Ledgestone.
Yeah, before the largest discraft. Yeah, exactly.
There's some funny memes of like, they're like, it was a guy like checking Twitter or something, and he's like, it was Homelander from.
Oh yeah,
he's
Homestar Running.
Yeah, and he's like pacing, and it's like, this is Nate Heinold trying to. That one was funny.
Yeah. Oh, Homelander from The Boys.
Yeah, from The
That one,
Boys.
okay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just see him and like he's like, making faces and stuff. That was funny.
Yeah.
But more surprising to me too, Paul Macbeth has Twitter.
Oh, he's huge on
Oh,
Twitter.
really?
Yeah.
I guess I'm not on Twitter. You're on Twitter.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm like, oh.
Yeah, that was one
Twitter.
of the ones I like everybody, and he doesn't post a lot, but he likes a lot, and he'll comment
Okay.
every once in a while.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't know.
Brody said something weird too about liking comments on Twitter. like in this beef kind of situation. He's like, I don't want to go on there and just like comments to allude to things anymore. He's like, I kind of need to just address things.
Yeah, he said he's going to stop it because what he was doing was where when people are, conspirating towards what was happening, he would just start liking if it was on his side.
Yeah.
So, and he said he's not going to do that, which bold move in the first place. Good for you for not doing it anymore.
Right.
If you really want to keep that drama out of your life, keep it out of your life. Don't say you're going to do it and then go do something like that. So, but all in all, like, I thought it was good. Awesome. I thought it was good. Just like the whole thing I say about Nico. Like, I think Nico's personality is going to be missed in disc golf for these 9 months. Like, there's nobody else that fills that role.
Yeah.
So, all right. So let's talk about proper disciplinary action. So, a lot has been said. We'll talk about the Brody and Paul. So Paul thinks it was too much. Brody thinks it was just enough. I think there should be different ways that the disciplinary committee can actually enforce citations like this or disciplinary actions. So I think they should have some latitude, and I think the players should have some latitude because we talk about fines. Fines are too much. People can't afford them, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Woe is me. So they're trying to play this whole everybody's so poor, they can't afford fines. Well, 9 months is going to make everybody poor. It's going to knock them out of the game. They're going to lose so much money. That was Paul's action on it. Like, you can't do that. So my humble opinion is then give them an option. Say, okay, here's your disciplinary action. You have either this much in fines or this much time suspension.
Right.
And it's equivalent. So if you pay half here, you only have half the suspension. If you pay all of it, you don't have the suspension. You can jump right back in by paying. So that would be my thought in the disciplinary committee to say go forward with, instead of just saying you are done for 9 months and then you're on probation for the next 14 months.
Yeah.
No questions. You can't do anything about it. You won't lose this $50,000+ that they're talking about that Nico's going to lose. I never saw him win tournaments, so I doubt he's going to lose that much money. But let's say he could lose up to $50,000.
Yeah. So
let's say it's a $5,000 fine or 9 month suspension. So pay the $5,000 if you want to get back in, so you can make that $50,000.
Sure.
It's a good business decision at that point. Or stay out for 9 months, or pay half and you're back in 4.5 months.
Or just continue playing and they take your prize money.
Well, yeah, exactly. Until you continue paying it back.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you're on probation. And then if it does, then you're suspended indefinitely.
Yeah. Like whatever, if you make cash, they just take that, kind of like child support or
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It's just taken out of your check and whatever, that kind of situation. But I like the pay half option, and then, picking either or. Like, I think that's a good thing because, like, someone had brought up the problem, like that bit of money to like Paul or Ricky, that's nothing. But somebody that's scraping by on the tour, like they rely on that to get through. So if like they pay half, they can still possibly stay on the tour and like survive, like scrape by, and then do what you can.
Yeah, yeah, and I think I think obviously the only option right now is the option that was given.
Yeah,
But I think in the future, if they think about it, a suspension or fines or things like that, there can be a combination of or one or the other. Or, like I said, you could do it something like this, where let's say every month of suspension is worth $1,000.
Yeah.
So if you're suspended for 9 months, it's $9,000 you can get out of that suspension. Or you can pay $4,000 and you only have 5 months suspension.
Yeah.
And to equate it to tournaments, I don't think is a good idea. Because I've heard the argument of, okay, you're suspended for 7 tournaments. Okay, so I'll just go sign up for the next 7
A tiers. Yeah, whatever.
Like there's a Saturday A tier, there's a Sunday A tier, then there's Saturday, in 3 weeks you'll be back. Like, I don't think that's smart.
No.
So I think making it monetary where it actually hurts somebody, so it quells the actions on the course, the negative actions on the course, but also giving them the ability to get back and earn that money back.
I think, too, that one of the tournaments you have to stipulate that it's a major.
Right.
Like that
If you did that.
Yeah. Right. It has to be a major, and then you can serve whatever around that major, like 6 tournaments.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I'm still not a huge fan of being the suspended per tournament. Like
Yeah.
if it's related to numbers of tournaments. Like I said, I just don't think that would be appropriate. I think suspension for time or money is probably the best way you can go. Mm-hmm. Now, if the Pro Tour decides to do something on top of the PDGA, that's up to them. That's the Pro Tour.
Yeah.
But as far as the PDGA goes, like, they are the disciplinary committee. I think that is something that's well within what they should be doing. But I think there should be better options for that. Mm-hmm. Now, if he does have the ability to lose $50,000 in the next 9 months, it's his fault.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
His actions should have been different.
Even though you could argue that the official wasn't intimidated.
Right. But that's also the official, not Nico.
Right.
So if the official did stare back at him, wasn't intimidated, whatever it was, Nico's intent was still the same.
Oh, yeah.
The official's action is the official's action. Mm-hmm. So that's something he should be, held accountable for.
Yeah.
So for him to stand in front of Nico like he did and then stare at him as he's walking away, a lot of people probably giving guff about that. Wasn't the right approach.
No.
At all. And I think there should be some sort of punishment for him, or just talking or some repercussions.
Yeah, feel like
who knows, there may be.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, who knows, because that's in Europe and they're dealing with their thing, so we probably just don't hear about it as much.
Right. It seems like Nico's getting all the flack for that, but that was 2. There was 2 people there. There's appropriate ways and inappropriate ways, and I think he was teetering on the inappropriate side of dealing with that infraction. Mm-hmm. So Nico definitely was on the inappropriate side.
Yeah.
The official, you can argue one way or the other, but
disc golf could use a card system like soccer. Like you get the red card,
Well,
yellow
sure.
card, like you're warned, like, okay, this is your warning, and then all of a sudden red card, boom, you're done. Mm-hmm. Like kind of that.
So I've always joked around about basketball.
Yeah.
I think something more comparable is like field hockey or hockey, where you can just duke it out for a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, go ahead. As soon as someone goes to the ground, we stop it. Like, that's how it goes. Like, I don't know. I mean, my humble opinion is we need more of this type of stuff in disc golf because I think it brings a little more excitement to a pretty boring game to watch, to spectate. Unless you're a hardcore fan, it's really not that fun to watch. Broadcasted. Mm-hmm. If there were random fights here and there or something like that.
Yeah.
People yelling at each other or,
This is the closest equivalent of like, the manager coming out of the dugout and like getting in the face of the umpire or, soccer all the time. It happens. They're coming up to the ref, like appealing calls and things like that.
Yes.
It'd be awesome to have a moment like totally Tommy LaRussa or whoever it was like picking up the bass and chucking it. Like just take your bag of discs and whip it
just throw them around.
Yeah.
Well, and then what is it? In Ultimate Frisbee, they have like the powwows. What are they called?
Like,
but like if there's disagreement, if there are disagreements or anything, they actually pull people aside and they have the official like moderate the argument.
Jeez.
And I know it's a little fluffy for me.
Yeah.
But like, let's give them a chance to.
Some more.
Yeah, exactly. Arm wrestle, something. So, but yeah, I don't know. I like it. But anyways, so there you go. That's Nico Tracker on down.
Yeah.
So, listener bag analysis. So Logan Knapp. I know the case probably signed it.
Probably.
Yeah. Let's see. He sent us a bag review. So here we go.
Bag review.
I'm throwing all West Side at the moment, but
wow.
I would be open to trying some stuff out. I'll put a asterisk next to the things that are my favorites, and solidly in the bag.
Okay.
There's a lot of asterisks. No, there's not that many.
Oh.
So, all right. So here we go. We got an Opto Cutlass.
These are drivers.
Yeah, so it looks like he started with drivers. So he has an Opto Cutlass, a Glimmer X sword, a Tournament Plastic Orbit sword, and then he has a...
They make Orbit swords. That's cool.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
I know that.
And then a GL Goldline Orbit.
Oh, okay.
bolt.
Bolt. Okay.
Yeah. And then he has a tournament plastic Ati, a tournament plastic Long Bowman, and a tournament plastic Northman. And then he has a Hybrid X hatchet,
Okay.
a VIP hatchet. He has a VIP Ice Bear,
Well, that's a fairly new disc. Yeah.
pretty stable. A tournament plastic Underworld. He has a VIP Glimmer Bard, a recycled Warship, VIP Tursus, and a VIP Gatekeeper. Tursus is a fuse.
Yeah. Yeah. It's understable, but they're decent discs. Dempsey's
Yeah.
got a couple like Origio, and then I think I turned in a tournament one to the store once.
Yeah. I think there was one in there.
Yep.
All right. And then he has BT Hard Harp.
Okay.
He has a VIP Maiden. These are his throwers. He has a Tournament X Matteo Maiden. And then he has a BT Hard Swan. And then for his putting putters, he has a medium Maiden and a hard crown.
Okay.
So,
Interesting.
so the one thing that I always say to everybody that is exclusively one manufacturer, why?
Yeah.
There's no need for it. And especially with a Trilogy brand.
Yeah. That's kind of
Because they're
interesting.
all molded by L64.
What?
So
Yeah.
if there's a loyalty to a brand, L64 and DD own
West Side.
Westside.
Yep.
So it's all the same company.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure why, Logan, you are all about Westside. More power to you if you want to do it. But like I said, you're really limiting yourself. And especially within the Trilogy line, Westside probably has the weakest lineup, in my opinion.
I think it
has
would
the most holes.
agree. There are some decent, like the harp is like the go-to
absolutely, yeah.
for West Side that I can think of.
Well, the Ballista was one of my favorite.
Yeah.
I mean, and the Ballista Pro, there's discs that
Yeah.
are great, but I think there's holes in their lineup.
Sure.
More so than Lat and
Yeah.
DD.
And it's probably me. I don't want to say that it's not focused. Yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe it is. Maybe it's because Latitude and DD like combined to this partnership, and they're kind of working on their own stuff. Then all of a sudden, like the Matty O signing, like him signing to West Side, it's like, okay, we need something to push West Side discs, so we're putting you here. Whereas
Right.
that's kind of how I see it.
But I think Stitchcomb is
She is. Yep. Erica
West
is,
Side
yep.
as well. So, yeah, I think it's good. So the only other thing that I noticed, well, not the only other thing. So the other thing I noticed is it seems like you have a pretty stable bag. And I don't see a ton, other than the Tursus, there's not a lot of understable plastic in your bag. And I tend to rely on understable plastic because I can shape shots with it. And I don't see much understable plastic in your bag. And maybe that's a throwing form issue that some of these things act like understable discs, but you have stable to overstable in your bag. So I would definitely branch out there. Definitely see if you can put some of the understable stuff like that Tursus. Find something like that in a fairway. Find something like that in a driver. Like I would, because you're looking at the sword and the bolt. Geez, those are what, 11 and...
The sword's
Or is it?
sword's like trespass range.
Yeah, I
like
think
12.
it's 11 or 12, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. And I think the bolt's the same.
But it's a little more understable.
It is, just
Yeah.
slightly. Yep. Yeah. So
The Cutlass is fairly fast. I didn't realize that, but it's got a good amount of fade. So
Cutlass reminds me of a Convict, if I remember rightly. The Convict and the Cutlass were, because I
Just
think
a
the Convict was an 8, or was it a 7?
it's actually, I'm looking up discs.
Yeah.
No, I think it's actually a 9 Convict.
Is it a 9? Okay.
And the Convict and the Felon were like really close. Like a Convict, I would say is like FD3, and then the Felon's like the Firebird, like splice kind of like
That's funny
overstable.
because I always thought the Convict was a very straight disc.
It is straighter.
Like just straight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like not a lot of finish. But that was what I threw. And I thought the Convict and the Cutlass were very darn close to each other. But yeah,
Maybe it is a little convict set. They're saying it's a 9.4 minus 0.53 for the convict.
okay, yeah, I guess that sounds about right.
Okay.
Because it has a little bit of turn. Because I remember when I would throw it, it would just turn over just slightly,
Sure.
and just kind of straight, and then it would finish, but it wasn't a hard finish. It wasn't
Yeah.
a hard skip finish.
No,
It
it's
was
definitely
just-
not a hard finisher.
right. I would throw it on the Garrett Girthy ace hole at
Yeah.
Vegas.
Okay.
I'd throw it there to get up to the landing zone. So, anyways, yeah, like I said, I think the biggest thing is just the VIP. I mean, excuse me, the west side only. And it looks like you have the orbit bolt and the orbit sword, and so the swords and the bolts are your go-tos. That's fantastic.
Oh, so are those two of the asterisk?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. That, the Northman, and that's it. So he doesn't have a
Oh,
lot that he's
interesting.
set on.
Yeah.
And the Ice Bear just came out. Those bears just came out. From what I understand, they're just an overstable fairway.
Yeah,
They're-
that's what I've heard.
Yep. I haven't thrown one yet. So the Bard, the Warship, the Tursus, the Gatekeeper, that's a good mixture. You got understable to overstable there. I think those are fantastic. Like that Warship is a pretty overstable. It's like a Verdict or plus, like an Opto X Verdict, I guess.
What's that? The
The Warship. Isn't that the one that's the more stable, or is that the Bard? Why am I
Bard.
getting- The Bard, okay.
The Warship it's a weird disc. It's the 6.5, I think, for speed and glide.
glide,
Yeah.
Okay. And then,
Or maybe they changed it because I know I had one that had like 6F, but it could be just a 5.5.
yeah. But then the Gatekeeper, I mean, it's EMAC, or Truth, rather. Not an EMAC Truth, but it's just regular Truth, right? If I remember rightly about the Gatekeeper.
I think it's a little more stable than that.
A little more, okay.
Yeah, slower than an EMAC, but a little more stable. Is what I threw it for a little bit just to test it out.
Okay.
It seems to me like, I don't know if it's like culprit range, kind of like that.
Okay, so a little
And-
more stable.
Yeah.
Okay. So, the culprit to me reminds me of a Verdict, just a slower Verdict.
Yeah.
So that's probably where the Gatekeeper lies, somewhere in there. The Harp, the Maiden, and the Swan, they're all good putters. So at the bottom end of your bag with the putters, so your putting putters, stick with one. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know if you would say that or not. Just find one, stick with one, learn it, feel comfortable with it. If it sits in your hand good, just choose between the Maiden or the Crown, which one you want.
Yeah, I'm partial to. Well, I putted with Origio Maidens for quite a while, so I'm partial to the Maiden. I know the Crown's a little deeper and it's got the bead on the bottom, but it's kind of a weird feeling. Like, I don't know why you'd want to putt with, like what the feel is for you, like putting situationally, if it's a distance thing where you're getting out closer to the edge of the circle, that you're like, okay, the Maiden's a little more straighter for me.
Right.
Whereas, like, it doesn't matter with the Crown as much. I don't know. That's interesting.
Yeah. And then he says, I'm to pretty much any brand. Okay. Mostly looking at overstable approach, overstable fairways, and overstable drivers instead of the Cutlass. Warship and Gatekeeper may not have a home in my bag.
Okay.
Maybe a Buzz or an EMAC again. Okay.
I mean, if he's looking for a replacement for like the Warship, I would say like a CAC Z.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of the same plastic, and the K1 plastic's really good from Castoplast. Yeah.
Yep. And I would agree. So, yeah. So back to the putting putters. So, yeah, I can understand the being outside the circle, wanting something that's maybe a little straighter. But, for me, like, find your disc and stick with it, because then you're not questioning, because there's always going to be a point where you're right on that boundary and you're going to waffle, and it's just never a good thing. Now, if you want a throwing putter and a putting putter, completely different.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So just my humble opinion. I mean, but I'm a super simplistic person when it comes to putters, because the only putter I carry is a Judge, and that's it. That's a thrower. That's my step putt. That's everything. It's a Judge. But for some people, I know they like those straighter discs for the jump putts.
Yeah.
Or for the step putts. Or they like throwing something like that's premium plastic, or maybe a little more stable, because who knows. But I would say, as far as your putting putter goes, find a putter, stick with it.
Yeah.
Just like whatever feels good in your hand, stick with it. Don't change it, because that's some of the worst stuff you can do. Changing putters, because you're always going to have that excuse and that unfamiliarity with the putters. I mean, unless you have a P2, because then there's about 40 putters you can use. So my recommendation for an overstable approach, so the yarn I thought was a fantastic disc when I threw it, and this is another Casaplast, and the culprit, I loved both of those. The hand feel to me was fantastic. Now I know, Logan, you probably have much larger hands than me. He's a big dude. He's pretty tall.
Okay.
So I'm assuming he has larger hands than me, but I love the yarn and I love the culprit as an overstable approach. I throw a tactic in that slot, and I don't have any reason to get rid of it or to push it out. So that's what I throw. But if I needed a little more distance than, which the tactic and the harp are very similar.
They are.
If I needed a little more distance than those, I would go with a yarn or a culprit.
Yeah, I feel like the yarn's, even though it's overstable, it's still kind of glidey.
It is glidey.
Yeah.
It is glidey. That's where that extra distance comes in. So, and an overstable fairway, God, I have so many of them. The Lariat, I think, is fantastic. I don't know if I would call it overstable.
Stable, right.
Yeah.
It's pretty neutral.
I really leaned on that one during the thing, but I mean, I'm always a Felon guy. Like, Felon is what I use in that overstable slot. Firebird is another one. Yeah. But
I mean, you could go up to maybe like a speed 10, like a PD or something. I don't know. I mean, there's such a range. It's really crazy to think
get
about.
Into Raptors.
Yeah.
There's another one, or even the Captain Raptors,
which is really
overstable. So
yeah, it just depends how stable you want to go.
And then the Pioneer is another one. And
Yeah.
I think that's a West Side, isn't it? No, Pioneer is lat. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you want to stay in the Trilogy brand, there's a lot of them. And then an overstable driver instead of the Cutlass. There's so many of them. There's so many of them. So I would go out there, find a speed that fits you. So anywhere between that 10 and 14 range. And whatever one feels good in your hand, because there are a plethora of overstable drivers. I don't bag any super overstable. I have a Lucid Glimmer Raider,
Right.
or a Lucid Sparkle Raider that is fairly overstable. And then I have, I think that's the most overstable disc I have in my bag.
If you're gonna stay in Trilogy, Enforcer, Defender.
Yep. Oh, I have the Enforcers. That's right.
Yeah, I mean,
So
the
I have the
Enforcers are pretty stable.
Yes.
I mean, outside of that, I'm trying to think.
I mean, Destroyers. Like,
yeah, I mean,
all those. Like, almost every destroyer I've ever thrown is more stable than my arm can handle.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Even though it's still 12.5 minus 1.2, it's still pretty.
It's stable.
It's pretty stable.
And if those aren't stable enough, just put Halo around it, and it's good to go. Because those things are beefcake. So yeah. So there you go. You have anything else to say?
No. Yeah. Just introduce a little more understability and just get out and try new things. Like that's. I mean, I was a DD, like for a while I threw a little bit Innova, but then I think Jordan got me onto the Trespass, and then I was like, okay, I fell hard into like DD and Trilogy, and then for a while I was like, I don't know why I'm throwing all this stuff when I can just try everything. It's just a matter of trying stuff. Like just go out and explore, go to your local shop and be like, hey, I throw this, but I'm looking for another disc that is similar, but not that. Yeah.
And then they'll have a recommendation.
Absolutely.
Guaranteed. Because they're going to have their favorite disc that they can point you to.
And well, here's the other thing too, is I think on DD's site, you can put input, well, it's reverse, because you can put in like, okay, I throw the Buzz, and it'll tell you what disc the Buzz is like comparable in the Trilogy lineup or whatever. It'd be nice. Marshall Street, I think they have a huge, what is it? You can like input a disc and it'll like compare them all.
Yeah, Infinite does as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Yeah, there's a bunch of resources out there to do comparable discs, and Infinite has one, Marshall Street, DD has one on their site. It'll compare it to DD, to Trilogy discs.
Right.
But yeah, you can go out there and do that. So for anybody that needs that, I'd say jump out there. But like I said, overstable drivers, really take your pick. There are so many of them. Like I said, I throw a Raider and an Enforcer. I used to have what's the higher speed? It's the Enforcer and then the
Oh, shoot.
anyways.
Yeah.
There's another one that's another speed up from the
Yeah.
Enforcer that's also, and they're fantastic discs. It just depends on which one feels the best in your hand.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. All right. So here is the random question. If you had to remove one part of your body, which one would it be?
Appendix.
All right. We made this no fun.
No,
You don't need it anyway.
yeah, exactly. No, let's see. Like an ear,
An ear? Okay.
maybe.
Make it look funny, but
Yeah, right. Like Vincent Van Gogh. You just walk around with a little bandage taped to the side of your head for a while. None the wiser.
we'll just have a hole.
Yeah.
I think
Like if I got rid of hands or anything, you can't play disc golf.
I know.
So
I think I would do it with my pinky.
You know, but like, but it's really hard because like sometimes I feel like that's where like you have your thumb and your like index fingers, but that pinky, once you engage the pinky, it just feels like a stronger grip. Like if you take your
Really?
pinky off, you kind of lose some of that strength.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm gripping a pen just for
Yeah,
you
yeah.
folks listening.
But like,
I don't know.
like try to power
I
grip a
don't-
disc once
I
without.
don't power grip
Oh, that's right.
with the pinky.
Yeah,
I do two
that's
fingers
right.
like this. I barely even have this on there.
Yeah.
So I feel like it would be no problem disc
Okay.
golf wise. So yeah, you can take a pinky. I'm
Okay.
good. A little piggy can be gone.
Right. It's not like taking your big toe where you like lose all your balance or something like that.
Exactly.
Like,
Have to retrain yourself how to
Yeah.
walk. No. I'm good. I go with the pinky. Maybe a pinky toe.
oh, pinky toe. Yeah. I mean, I've stubbed enough pinky toes in my life where I'm like,
It could go.
I can go. Yeah.
Well, so would you keep it after you cut off your ear?
Necklace. Right.
Ne-
right. Whose toe was that?
Yeah.
It's mine.
It's my toe. So if you kept your ear, would you talk into it every once in a while? Like the crazy guy from Universal Soldier?
Oh.
Dolph Lundgren, he does that. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So, all right, my friends, shop updates. Here we go. The Goulds sold out in minutes, so we should be getting a restock of them. We're not going to have many of them. So when they come in, we'll post it up on Instagram. First come, first serve.
Yeah.
I might actually want one,
Yeah.
but who knows? And then Cloud Breakers. Actually, they dropped today.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Today.
Today. I don't think we have any left. I think we sold them all.
Oh, really? When
Yeah,
I stopped in the shop to pick up mine, there's still quite a few left.
Yeah, we ordered
So-
the most we could order, but
Nice.
I still think because we had some orders pour in here recently, so
Okay.
might have a few left. But jump on the site and you can grab them or come into the store. And then we have the P1s and the full tilts available on the 24th. I also have a restock of DD coming in, and then we are going to have a restock of MVP coming in, and I'm going to have to follow up with whatever the thing is for those disc getters. Quick sticks. There you go.
Whatever the thing is to get your discs.
Yeah, the disc getters.
I was say like coming into the store, like looking around, I was like, oh, there's a good amount of stuff. Like Innova was kind of low, like some stuff sold, and then like MVP, there's hardly like not a lot in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do some of those, and then Lone Star pick up again. So we'll order both of those next week. And I think that's that. So we're gonna have a lot of stuff coming in this
Yeah.
shop because a lot of stuff is going out of the shop
Right.
real quick. So
and then on the board, I noticed there's a couple companies that I don't know who had written them down, but it was like Clash, Wild Discs. Someone else said.
I don't even know about Wild.
And there was one other company, but I forgot who it was. I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, Clash. I'm working on.
Yeah.
I'm working on trying to get Clash in. I can order them from Infinite, but they sell out pretty quick. But I have a potential connection
Nice.
to Clash, and I'm going to try to work in a deal.
Yeah.
So, and if I can get some of those, that'll be awesome. And then Wild Disc, know nothing about them, so I have no clue.
I've heard of them, but I don't know much about their lineups
Yeah.
except that they're named after animals.
Well, there you go. And then outside of that, I know we have Mint, we have DGA, we have all those obscure brands, but we just don't sell anything from them. So we're kind of letting those ones die off a little bit. And then like Gateway, I think the discs we brought in, we still have from the beginning. Unfortunately, people just don't buy Gateway. Aside from the Wizards, they're all gone.
I should say, well, I think we've mentioned this before. Things are kind of regional as to where people
very much so,
buy, what companies they buy. Around here though, it's like, well, you would think it's Discraft because Discraft's close, but it's kind of like a melting pot. We have a lot of different people coming in.
I think Innova is still our number one seller.
Sure.
And then
name brand,
exactly
good stuff in the name.
And then I think he could kind of pick and choose between the Trilogy brands and Discraft and Dynamic.
Yeah.
I mean,
Discmania.
Discmania.
Yeah.
But Lone Star has, I might even say Lone Star might be one of our best brands.
They sell pretty quick.
Now. It's incredible.
Yeah.
We brought in over 200 discs, and maybe less than a month, they're all gone.
Yeah,
so
that's cool.
Almost all gone. So, all right. But those are our shop updates. The only thing of importance is your OnlyFans.
Working on it.
No, come on. There's no working on it. You either have one or you don't.
Well, how do you think I make content? I have to work at it.
Work it.
Work
all right.
it.
Well, if you don't want to give it to us, then we'll just
I'm still working on tiers for my tiers.
Oh, the tiering system. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. All right. That's acceptable then.
Yep.
So, I won't subscribe, but I know there's some that will.
Yeah.
So, you could probably bug them on Instagram.
Sure. Why not?
_Al_pod. He might give it to you. Just hit him up for it.
Never know.
Tell him Shane sent you. All right. Keep us on par. Peace.